Hey, what's up, YouTubers, and welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts collection overview video. And today I'm going to start my little tour of my Western collection. And I'm going to start with the VHS in this video. So it's just two shelves of VHS. That's all I have for the Western movies. Western movies are a really fun genre, and it's probably number two for me behind the horror genre. I really enjoy horror movies and Western movies. So I'll go through and show you guys what I have for VHS, and then in a future video I'll go through my DVDs and my Blu-rays. I'm missing quite a bit of titles for Westerns that I would like to grab at some point, but I'll show you guys what I currently have, and hope you guys enjoy the video. Maybe I'll give you some ideas of things to add to your collection, and of course you can always comment and let me know what you would recommend. So get yourself relaxed, get a snack and a beverage. Let's see if we can do this without kicking up a lot of dust. Alright, so this should be a pretty short video. It's just two shelves. The first two shelves here are VHS, and for the most part I did try to alphabetize these, and there may be one or two out of order, but we'll jump in here with, and there's a lot of John Wayne movies. I'm a big John Wayne fan, and I really like his movies, so I have a lot of them, and this first one is called The Alamo, also starring Richard Widmark and Richard Boone, star-studded cast. The next one is Angel and the Bad Man, and this one also stars Gail Russell. This is a really old VHS tape put up by Good Times. 1984 this VHS came out. That's an old one. Next one's kind of it's a musical. It's called Annie, Get Your Gun, starring the very beautiful and very funny Betty Hutton. I always enjoy her. She's great. This is the 50th anniversary clamshell edition, special edition. Next one's called Big Jake. This is an older John Wayne. And this is one of his earliest. This is called Blue Steel. You can see how young the Duke is right there. This one also stars Gabby Hayes. It says running time approximately 54 minutes. I'm trying to see when this movie came out. The VHS tape came out in 1986, but I'm guessing that this movie's from the 30s. And there's another edition, same movie, just two different covers. See if I can get that glare off of there. You can see that it is a black and white movie, but they added a little color to the cover here. Another Good Times video. This one was released in 1985. It says here on the back, guaranteed superior quality videotape and recording. Okay, 1934 is when the movie came out. The next one is Chisholm. So I'm a big Duke fan. I'm also a big Clint Eastwood fan, and I do have quite a few Clint Eastwood movies coming up on shelf 2. I would like to pick up some more of those, but for now this is what I have. Next one is called Dark Command. Has Walter Pidgeon in it. Another movie from the 30s, and they put color on the cover to make it a little more appealing for people to want to buy it or rent it. I have a couple different editions of Dawn Rider. This tape was released in 2001, so this is kind of a late VHS tape. And this one was released in 1987 on on VHS. The movie's from 1935. Right there. Very short movies too. They're around an hour, a little bit under, so that movie was 56 minutes. Here's Clint Eastwood, A Fistful of Dollars, part of the Dollars trilogy. (1965), I believe. No, 64. I was off. And the 2-tape set of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Long movie, great movie. Great cast, great music, great soundtrack. 1966. That's the third of the Dollars trilogy. Hang 'em High. From 1968. Inger Stevens, Ed Begley, Pat Hingle's in here. Directed by Ted Post. And the next one is High Plains Drifter. If you have never watched a spaghetti western and you want to start watching them or start collecting them, I would recommend the early Clint Eastwood movies. Start with the Dollars trilogy and pick up some of the other Clint Eastwood stuff. This one's called Joe Kidd. Robert Duvall is also in here, and John Saxon. Movie from 1972. This one could stand an upgrade. It's got a little bit of damage on the corner. I'm not very concerned about it, but if I ever see it out in the, out at a thrift shop or something, I'll pick one up if the price is right. One of my favorite westerns of all time, if not my favorite, it's either this one or Tombstone. Those are both great movies. And of course, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. All of the Dollars trilogy, those are excellent. But this movie here, this was directed by Clint Eastwood, and there's so many great one-liners in here. It's a great movie. Love that poster too. It's really good. I have fond memories watching this with my dad when I was a kid, and that's how I got into it. And you can see Uncle Leo from Seinfeld, a very, very much younger Uncle Leo in that movie. And he thinks that he got the drop on Josie Wales. He thought he was going to capture him for the reward, for the bounty. But he was mistaken. I'm not going to give it away. Great scene, though. Next one's called Randy Rides Alone. This tape, I think I paid $0.25 for this, and the thing was like pristine, like brand new. It's another tape from 2001, but it looks like it had never even been touched. The next one's called Sagebrush Trail, and the majority of these John Wayne movies I picked up at the same thrift shop, so not all at the same time, but I have a feeling that somebody cashed in their collection, whether they are no longer here and the stuff got donated or what, but I got a lot of really good John Wayne stuff. This one's from 1987. This tape was released. The movie came out in 1933. It's kind of sad to think about it that way, but everything that any of us owns right now, all this stuff that I own here, someday, and we don't know when, it could be tomorrow, it could be in a half hour from now, I may kick the bucket. All this stuff will be scattered and taken to Goodwill, or who knows where this stuff will go, but it won't be mine anymore. The next one's called The Shootist. I believe this is the very last movie that John Wayne made before he passed away. And there was and Lauren Bacall, I believe that there was a little bit of animosity on the screen between John Wayne, who was a huge conservative Republican, and Lauren Bacall, who was a huge socialist pig, communist liberal, and they didn't get along very well. The next two are the same movie, just a different cover. And this is The Sons of Katie Elder. This is a great movie, great cast again. This time you have Dean Martin co-starring with the Duke. And these covers are very similar, but they're just a little bit different. And the last one for shelf one is called Tall in the Saddle. And speaking of tall, I believe John Wayne was about 6'4", maybe 6'5", pretty tall guy. A little bit taller than me. This movie came out in 1944. And Gabby Hayes is in this one again. Ella Raines was the co-star. Ward Bond was in here? Yeah, Ward Bond was in here. Wow. It's a great cast. So that is it for shelf one. I'm going to pause it here, get a drink, and we'll wrap it up with shelf two. So the first title on shelf two is called The Trail Beyond. Another one that's in pristine condition from 1934. This is a VHS tape from 1987. It's in perfect condition. This is one of Clint's best ones too. This is one that he directed and starred in, and this one won the Best Picture in 1992. Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Richard Harris, Morgan Freeman. Unforgiven, great movie. Another great movie. This is The Duke. Duke won his Oscar, his one and only Oscar, which is a shame. He should have had more than one. But he got it in True Grit. Love this movie, and I love the remake. The remake is excellent. It says on the back, John Wayne was given an Oscar. John Wayne earned an Oscar for this performance. He wasn't just given an Oscar. The next one is Two Mules for Sister Sarah, Shirley MacLaine. This one's kind of, it's a good movie, but it's a little sappy. It's still good though. Oh, I got these I got these a little bit out of order. I have two different covers of The Unforgiven, or just Unforgiven rather. So the one on the right is from the Clint Eastwood collection, and then this is just the regular, probably the first pressing of it. And the last one for Westerns, before we get into the Clint Eastwood stuff, is called The War Wagon. The Duke with Kirk Douglas. Also, Keenan Wynn was in here. And Keenan Wynn played an Indian. They called him a half-civilized Indian. Can you imagine if they did that today? How well that would go over? let a white guy play a Native American and then call him a half-civilized. Okay, so the next 5 are the Dirty Harry movies in order. So these are not alphabetical, these are in order of 1 through 5. First one, which is the best one in this series, in my opinion, Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry Callahan chasing a serial killer. I forget the name of the serial killer. I was hoping it was going to show it on the back. Was it Scorpio or something like that? Let me see. I think it was Scorpio or something along that. Anyway, we'll keep moving. And part 2 was Magnum Force. Part 3 was The Enforcer. Part 4 was Sudden Impact. He liked to play in the movies a lot with his wife, Sandra Locke, his wife at the time. I believe she's now passed away. I think she died a couple of years ago. I have to double check that. And then the last one in part 5 was the Deadpool. This one came out in the 90s, I believe, early 90s, right? Oh, late 90s, 1990s. Wait a minute, hold on here. It says 88 and then 97. It may have been 88. I don't think it was 97. The Rookie with Charlie Sheen. I think what they were trying to do with this one, it's not a Dirty Harry movie, but it almost kind of felt, and this is a good movie, but it kind of felt like they were trying to pass the torch from Eastwood to Charlie Sheen as kind of being the next tough, kind of the tough actor, or maybe take over a different line of like a tough cop movie, no nonsense kind of a cop. Here's In the Line of Fire. This is another great one. John Malkovich was the bad guy in this one, and John Malkovich right there played one hell of a villain in this movie. Also, Renee Russo, and she never looked better than she did in this movie. She's gorgeous. She was really, really gorgeous in this movie. And then we have kind of a war epic called Heartbreak Ridge. And there's another Heartbreak Ridge, just a different, same movie, just 2 different covers. And this one I've never seen yet. I have not seen this movie. It's called Firefox. I don't even know anything about it. It looks like it may be kind of a sci-fi type movie, or is this like a fighter jet? I really don't know. Let's see. High-tech bat out of hell. It rips through the skies at 6 times the speed of sound. Okay, it's kind of a war movie. The Blue Firefox belongs to the Russians. So it's not sci-fi, although it does kind of look like a sci-fi ship in the background. It's not. Here's another one I haven't watched yet. This is called Where Eagles Dare, starring the great Sir Richard Burton. And Clint Eastwood plays second fiddle there on the billing. Another war-type movie. This must be from the 60s, I guess. 1968. So he kind of, Clint was doing his spaghetti westerns in the mid and late 60s, so he took a little break away from the spaghettis to play a little bit of war with Richard Burton. A couple of comedies here. These were funny. I remember watching these back in the day on HBO. And we have Every Which Way But Loose. Clint with his pet orangutan called Clyde. And then the sequel, Any Which Way You Can. Right Turn, Clyde. And then the orangutan would punch his arm out the window and hit somebody. This one I've never seen before either. I got this a couple of years ago at a thrift shop for like $1, and it's called Law of the Land. It comes in this really nice clamshell. It's a beta tape, Betamax tape. And then these two are spaghetti westerns, but these are actually Italian releases. And this first one is a Giuliano Gemma movie. I'm trying to get in there without the glare. That is the Italian title, and that translates to Blood for a Silver Dollar from 1965. But when I opened this up, I bought this for like $1, maybe 50 cents. When I opened it up, it had a different tape in it, which it's also a movie from 1965, but it's called Adios Gringo. So honestly, I don't really care for the price that I paid, 50 cents or whatever it was. I would have paid that just for an empty case, just because I think it looks cool. I mean, 50 cents is nothing. And maybe I can track down the right stuff and switch those out at some point. And then the last one, it's another Giuliano Gemma movie, and this one is called Silver Saddle. And this one's kind of late in the spaghetti western genre. It's from 1978. So the majority of the spaghetti westerns were over by like 71, and that was from 78. So, and I do have one more. This is not really it's kind of a western, but it's another Italian clamshell. This is Zorro. This is the Italians' take on Zorro. It was filmed in Italy from 1980. So it does kind of look, there's a lot of similarities to westerns in this. So I just kind of throw it up in here with the other VHS tapes. So that will end part one. This was kind of short, but then again, I don't really have a huge western collection, so this whole series is going to be rather short. Next we will go over the DVDs, although I won't be doing my Wild East because I just recently uploaded my complete Wild East collection. So if you want to check that out, just go back in my archives of videos and you'll find it. So thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in part 2.